we had already the keynote, so we're going into a little more about explanation of what will happen today. There are some handouts that you were provided. So of course, in one day you will not be able to build a complete app. Okay, so it will be like a prototype. How do you call that? MVP. So that's what you will build. We also focus more on you delivering something that we can, however, interact with. That's why we're using the tools that I will be presenting. So what will happen today? You will form a team, because in mobile app development, lots of the time we build things in teams, most of the time. Who is from Seidenberg here? Who is from another school? What school are you from?
Finance Risk Management.
So Lubin? Lubin? And Lubin? Okay, great. Because also it's really great to have teams that are interdisciplinary. Okay, you can like have much more ideas coming. It's really important. So do not like Seidenberg students don't work only in Seidenberg teams. Just mix up. We have 3 other like students, so there probably will be 3, 4 teams, 5 teams. So take advantage of that. So you will brainstorm an idea for the first hour, I think. So you will use paper, everything you want. You do some research. You may have already an idea of something you want to do. Of course, you will not be able to implement everything you want to do. Okay, so you will have to like make it just so that we get an idea of what it is. If that's like a more personal, you may have to choose a platform if you want mostly to develop for iOS, or if you want to work for Android, because the 2 platforms, and I put 3 dots, but I'm not sure you want to work for another platform. But the 2 platforms are very different. So then read about the design principles of the target platform, because yes, colors differ. I will talk a little about this. Where you put the buttons differ, what buttons you put differs, and so on. About your idea also, it's important that you tell us who are the users that you're targeting. So in the keynote, we understood Alex is to teach younger children and give them access to computing skills. So who will be your user? So you will create a persona, and you will have to fill out a template so that we know who are your users. Then you will sketch your app on paper first. I mean, paper pencil, it's a very important tool. When we talk about tools, you think about a tool that is on your computer and so on. No, a tool can be just pencil and paper. People working in UX, user experience, they will tell you that. By the way, we took a class on UX already. Okay, so some of you. Because design is part of UX, user experience. So you will sketch your app, find a great name for your app. Sometimes it's very important. It can be catchy. It may have, yes, a story behind the name. And then you will use a tool, a wireframe tool, so that we can, much more see how it looks like, and that we can interact with it. You will not have the time so much to do testing, but when you do software development, you do always activities are requirements, design, implementation, testing. But testing mobile apps is a very particular thing, because you will have to test on landscape, portrait, for example. If you're doing a fitness app, you will have to use it while you're doing fitness, because it's different from sitting than if you're running and using an app. It's very different. You will share your app with us, and you will pitch your app at the end. We want to be amazed. Lots of the time we were amazed by what students were designing, so hopefully today too. So pen and pencil sketches. That's how it looks like. You can find templates online also of this, or you can just draw it by yourself. That's an iPhone app, as you can see. On iPhone, for example, there's no back button, but there's a back button in Android, so just something to think about. So that's for the Android example. And what I suggest also that you read a little is about the design principles of the different platforms. All of this is completely documented for Android and iOS. So you have the links, the bit.ly of the links. I mean, this presentation, I can just put the links on the board afterward. But some examples. Here it's an iOS app, and on iOS there are particular fonts that are used, particular colors also, and the colors, they are different from, it can be like a detail, but I mean iOS, having an app accepted on the App Store is much more difficult than on Android. Apple is very strict on what they want to see. And you see, like, yes, here it's something that is not recommended, that you see it's like using different types of font. They are not, they are very, I don't know, weird. And they want something clean, very clean. Okay. Here you have the colors of Android, and all of this is on the website, and the back button, and how you design your app, and so there's a do and don't here also. So there are lots of rules, in fact. Of course, you will not have the time to implement all of this, but it's also for you to look further after if you're interested in mobile app development. In Android, the design is called material design right now. The apps of today, they look very different from the app like 5 years ago. Material design, it's we see that it's the most common material design component is a floating button that you see here. You know, you can scroll, but the button stays there. So that's one of the most well known. There are also lots of animations that are possible on in material design, but now it's becoming like the standard of developing like this. So testing, yes, just use the app the way it will be used. I was talking about fitness, because there are lots of different types of apps. The difficulty of development also is that there are lots of different devices, less for iOS than for Android. I mean, how many Android phones are there? Maybe 5,000 different ones. They have different sizes, different resolution also. You cannot test on every configuration, but when you put your app on the App Store, they want you to really develop for everything. And if you don't, you need to say, I don't support this particular version of Android, I don't support this particular configuration. And it's very cumbersome, in fact, because you need to uncheck lots of boxes. Okay. Test in portrait, landscape, test with or without internet. We use our phone in the subway, and we see that if there's no internet, what happens? Is it a blank page, or is it like a message telling us be patient until internet is back? What happens if you use your app, you're interrupted? Test the navigation. All the user experience things are very also particular. And what happens if you are on low power battery? And test on outbound situation, like what happens if you forgot the password and external apps. I mean, even forgetting a password, the solutions that are provided right now are very different from the solution earlier. Like you get an SMS, you don't even need to, when you don't remember you're logging on Google, you don't even need to change it again, because you can do a code on your phone and you can log in. So all these things are part also of user experience if you want. So that testing you will not have so much time to look into. so the tools, there are like lots of tools, and if you you are free to use in fact what fits your needs, what you know. Maybe some of you learn Sketch also in their UX class, so you can use Sketch. Here we over the years we have been using Proto.io, but it's just one tool. There's also the Pop app, which permits you to do design of apps directly on with your phone. In fact, you're taking pictures of sketches and you work with that. Ninja Mock also, Fluid UI, there are tons of them. We have also in the past some students who used HTML, CSS, JavaScript, or who were good in using some platforms, JavaScript platforms such as Ionic, even some React and so on, so they use that. You are free to use what you think is the best for you. So just a little demo on Proto. So you have 15 days of subscription. It's a trial, so you can use that for 15 days. So let's just create a project. And so I will say, okay, it's my travel app, and you can check what you want to design for. So you have different fonts, as you can see here. You can even design for a smartwatch, because we said also this year also our topic can be also IoT, if you're interested in doing IoT things. So let's say we're doing an Android app. Create. And here you have your canvas, and you will have different screens, so you can rename the names of the screens, screen 1, screen 2. On screen 1 you may want to add a picture, and so different kind of things. So you want to put an image, so you're putting an image, and we're taking an image that exists already. Okay, in Holland you make it smaller. If you want a button, I think you are going somewhere. Where is the button now? Okay, you rename what is on the button. Okay, to go to the next screen, for example. And so what happens is on the left you have, so it's really WYSIWYG, and so you have your screens, because you have several screens in your app in general. Then you are dropping the elements, and you have lots of different elements that you can have. And all the icons also exist already, because the icons they're standard. We don't want you to have to do that using Photoshop and stuff, so they're here. And like for example, if you want what they call transitions, if you want to go from one page to the other, so you can do that with a transition. You can also do, so I'm probably, how do you go from one page to the other? Interaction, they call that interaction. So you do new interaction, the title of your interaction, next screen, and action. Go to screen number 2, and you save the interaction. And what is great is that then you can, like, you save your app, your design, and you go to preview, and you can see how it looks like on a phone, and you test it, and you are there. And you can also share it. Okay, how do you go out now of you can share it by SMS. So you can put the number and it will send an SMS with a URL, and from this URL you will be able to test the app on your phone. So it permits you like to quickly see how it looks like. You see what I mean? So because we decided to use this type of tool because we want to see something on a phone. So when you will make your demo tonight, we will be able even to see it either from the screen here, but also maybe you connect your phone to your computer and we can project it here. So as I said, however, you're free to use any other tool. If you're comfortable with Sketch, use Sketch. If you're comfortable with just developing directly with Ionic, we had students last year, we did, just do that. Okay? So it permits you also, this type of tool permits you to get Photo.io. Seems quite, the learning curve is quick at the beginning, but then if you want to do like much more complicated things, you need to like look at the documentation. And however, you may not, just to tell you about, you may not be able to use all the functionalities with a trial version. Okay, and look at the number also of screen you can have with a trial version. There are always like limitations when you use a trial. Okay, that's all I wanted to say about the tools. Do you have any questions? No? You're ready to go? I mean, you seem excited. You want to like just go. In fact, you have enough of listening to us. Okay. So the next step is for you to find your teams, and you can sit using by teams here, somewhere else also. Okay. So let's go then.
Let's rock.